Today's topic is how to make your first move. So whether it's for your goal, for your career, or to get a girlfriend, or for anything you want to do, in today's video, I want to share 5 tips with you guys on how to make your first move. So I'm so pumped, and let's dive into it. So now, the first thing I want to share is comfort is the enemy. Now, it will come to a point where if you have been doing the same thing over and over, you realize that you have been very comfortable doing the same thing. And when you are too comfortable doing the same thing over and over, it will come to a point where you start feeling bored or you get tired of repeating the same thing. And that's why comfort is always the enemy of growth. If you want growth, you have to choose to be discomfort because you know growth lies in the opposite side of comfort. Like everything you want in life is always or almost at the opposite side of comfort. That's why you always want to push yourself out of comfort because comfort is the enemy of growth. The more you get comfortable doing the same thing over and over, the more like um the more your rate of growth will be reducing because you won't grow. But the more you grow, the lower your the lower your level of comfort. So that's why you always want to push yourself out of comfort zone. For example, if you are too comfortable talking to guys or maybe staying around guys all time, you realize that you'll be too comfortable talking to guys or always you always want to be around guys. But anytime you step into or anytime you take a new challenge, maybe you challenge yourself to talk to a girl. For the first time your mind will be beating or it will feel scary. So but as you keep pushing through over time you realize that you are talking to girls. So if you have any big goals for yourself, or if you have any big thing you want to do, whether you are taking on a project for the first time, taking the first step will be scary, but once you take the leap of faith and you start the process and you persist through over time, you will realize that it will become an habit. 95% of what we do is as a result of an habit. So that's why over time you realize when you keep doing the same thing over and over, it becomes like an habit. So now the second thing I want to share with you guys, tip number two is first time is scary. You know, for whatever you want to do, you realize that doing it for the first time, especially if you've never done anything related before, or if you are trying something new for the first time, the most difficult thing is always the first time because once you do it for the first time, the second time it will be easy or it will be less difficult compared to the first time. So if you are trying to do something for the first time, you should know that the first time will be scary, and you shouldn't you should not be always afraid of try something new for the first time because the more you challenge yourself to do something or to try something new, the more it unleash your confidence. That's why confidence there is what we call confidence competence loops. Loop. When you take courage for the first, when you everything starts with courage. When you develop courage to start something for the first time, once you do it, then it will turn to confidence, and from confidence, it will not turn to competence. You will not be competent doing the same thing. So the third thing is courage. Now, courage means doing something or taking leap of faith to do something, even when it's scary or even when you are in fear. Courage does not mean deviating from fear. Does not mean deviating from fear, or courage does not mean doing something without fear. It simply means even when it feels scary or when you are scared of doing something, you still have the faith. You still believe in yourself that okay, I'm going to try it no matter what. So that is courage. And when you try something for the first time, or when you try that thing that you always want to do, it will now turn to confidence. That's why everything always starts with courage. And the the fourth thing I want to share with you is persistence. You know, when you are doing something for the first time, you have to persist because it will come to a time, maybe in the beginning, it may be easy. It may be very easy for you to do it, but as you keep going on, you will realize that it will come to a point where it will be extremely difficult. Once it comes to that tipping point where everything is extremely difficult, that is the moment that will define who you are. It is the moment that we show you who truly you are, that whether you can persist or keep doing it or not. That's why you always want to persist anytime you are doing something. Okay, okay, thank you. Okay. So that's why when you're trying something new for the first time, you always want to persist until the end. For example, let's say you want to talk to a girl for the first time. Now, for the first time, you may be rejected, but doesn't when you are rejected, it doesn't mean you shouldn't try again. Why? Because as I mentioned earlier, first time is always scary. The first time will always when you try something for the first time, it will be always be scary. Like there will be some level of fear, there will be some sort of fear that will pop into your mind. But once you persist through the process, you realize that over time your confidence will start growing gradually. And the last thing is competence. Competence has to do with competence is the end of everything. For example, when you try something for the first time and you are able to persist through the journey and you finish it, at the end, it will turn to